Everything has to be looked at in proportion, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I've been doing? Something crazy. I've been doing a crazy experiment on this channel. A new feature, a story feature. I don't know how long this story is going to go. I don't know how it's going to end. Clearly, as a watch obsessive, I think we can all relate to this. We all have our watch obsessive demons that have to be exercised. We have to go through, what's the word I want? We have to undergo catharsis. So I guess this story experiment called Exit Watch is an attempt at collective catharsis for the watch community. Who needs catharsis? I do. You know, I look at this hobby in proportion because I'm actually pretty happy. I know the hobby can be a pain in the butt. This watch hobby can feel like a full-time job, but I don't know, man. I'm 62. My health is good for now. I don't take it for granted. So yesterday, a really nice neighbor came over to sign some documents. We needed witnesses who were not in our family to sign a living will, living trust. It cost about $2,500. And so this gentleman comes over. He's about 12 years younger than I am. Very sweet guy. I don't know him that well. He comes over and he's about 6'1", super skinny. And I asked him how he was doing. He seemed a bit frail. And, you know, I think he's in his late 40s, early 50s. He's got kids, grew up with my kids. And he's being a really nice guy. You know, he's signing these documents. And he goes, yeah, man, I had to get surgery on my retina from diabetes too. I'm looking at this guy. He goes, you're not even overweight. And he goes, it runs in my family. So, yeah, I'm getting my blood work's getting better. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm only eating like 80 carbs a day and blah, blah, blah. And, man, I was just thinking, I do not take being strong and healthy for granted, not at all. And my watch obsession, it just seems so small in the context of health. So, but you know, you can talk about health one moment and then not have the next. Morgan Spurlock passed away yesterday. I was going to talk about it in my video, but why? I don't know, man. But I'm just framing the story, Exit Watch, in trying to give a proportion, context. Yesterday, Baines went to his his buddy's house, his Roland, and just unload all of his watches. And his buddy lives on the edge of town. He and his mom, they live in a pumpkin patch, Christmas tree lot. They got a house there. And yeah, he lost his dad when he was a teenager. His dad died of a heart attack. His mom sent her son to air pilot school in San Diego, where he got bullied. And one night the bullies, they came into his bunk and they beat him up with baseball bats. Broke his jaw. He left the school. They did win a lawsuit. They got a handsome sum of money. This really happened to someone I played baseball with in Little League when I was 13 years old. Actually happened. So Roland is based on someone I know, a guy that got bullied. You know, the guy had no social skills and he just had a certain look about him. You know how guys are, those guys that are magnets for bullies. So I based Roland on a guy I played baseball with in Little League for this story. So last we left off, the main character, Baines, was about to go inside Roland's house. Roland lives with his mom. Roland's about 48 years old now, and he lives with his mom. So this chapter is called, I Did Not Find My Exit Watch. It Found Me. Excuse me. Before Baines could refuse to come in, Roland's mother, Maybelline, was standing on the front porch. Her golden hair was in tiny curls. She covered her enormous body with her usual muumuu, and her fleshy arms were akimbo. Baines, have you come in here and unload all your junk on my son? Lord knows he doesn't need another box of watches. Hello, Mrs. Dooley, your son insisted. Come on in then. Baines followed his friends into the living room. He was immediately overcome by a stench that smelled like athletic socks that had been left in the men's locker room for several months. "What's that smell?" "Roland and I are making our own sauerkraut now," Maybelline said grandly. "The probiotics help with healthy gut and reduce inflammation. Would you like to try some?" Baines grimaced, shook his head, and said, "Someone didn't get the memo. Homemade sauerkraut makes your house smell like dead donkeys." "What's happened to you, Baines? You're usually such a well-mannered man. You've come here to criticize my sauerkraut?" Baines could not wipe the look of disgust off his face. "Someone didn't get the memo. Homemade sauerkraut makes your house smell like B.O." "Stop it, Baines. Roland and I are trying to get healthier, if you don't mind." "Someone didn't get the memo." "Mom, Baines has seriously changed. Smokey doesn't even like him anymore. He was growling at him." Maybelline stared at Baines and said, "What's gotten into you?" "A metamorphosis." "What's that?" Maybelline asked. Roland said, "Baines has found his exit watch." "I didn't find my exit watch, Roland. It found me." "What's that supposed to mean?" Maybelline said. "You're not collecting watches anymore?" "It wasn't a choice, Mrs. Dooley. It was a necessary move on my part." "But you love collecting watches." "Love? I'm not sure that's the right word. My watch hobby has not been fueled by love so much as demonic possession." "That's an awful thing to say. For over 10 years I've watched you and Roland grow in the watch hobby. I've watched the joy, the bonding, the discovery. Watches have been good to you, Baines." "Mrs. Dooley, if I may be blunt, the watch hobby is not something I enjoy. I endure it, the way a man goes through life with a stomach ulcer. The watch hobby controls every minute, every thought, every action. I agonize at night about what watch I'll wear the next day to work. I plan for months in advance what watches I'll wear on vacations, birthdays, anniversaries, graduations. I stare at my watch at meetings. I do several strap swaps a day in a state of great anxiety. I buy, sell, rebuy watches. I hide watch purchases from my wife. I feel guilty for spending more on a watch than I spend for my family to fly to a resort in Cancun. The watch hobby has made my life a farce. I've become a parody of myself." "But you're a fine man, a winner in society. Your watch hobby is part of your success and happiness." "No, Mrs. Dooley, the watch hobby has ruined my life." "So now you're unloading all your watches on Roland before you abandon him? Is that it?" "Look, Mrs. Dooley, I was perfectly content to sell them on eBay, but your son insisted on taking them." "Very well, Roland can take your watches, but on one condition. You have to let me tell you the secret, and only you can know." She turned toward her son. "Roland, that means you have to leave the room. Go give Smokey a walk." "But Mom, I want to hear the secret." "You will not hear it. It's for your own good. Do you understand me?" "Yes, Mom." Obediently, Roland walked outside. Baines settled on the couch and watched as Mrs. Dooley took a sip of water and prepared to tell him the secret. So that's going to be our next chapter. Roland had to leave because he can't know. There's a certain secret that his mom's keeping from him about his watch collection. And we're going to find out in our next chapter. So it's Memorial Day weekend. I'm going to see my family in Studio City. It's crazy, man. What watch will I wear? Oh, the agony. My favorite line from the story, having a watch obsession's like going through life with a stomach ulcer. Oh, Lord have mercy. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think. Until next time, I'm out.